it follows on from the previous tip where we looked at kind of good debt and bad debt, and a quick recap. Good debt, asset based, goes up in value typically. Bad debt, high interest rates, and normally devalues, or that there's no asset at all. So following on from that, we can look at some examples of how we can leverage debt. So we know if we leverage the right debt, okay, which we'll call good debt. Let's write that down here. So let's say we're happy that investing in property can be good debt. So there's a scenario here where a lot of people are still very scared of putting a lot of money into property. What they'll typically go and do is they'll find a house, and there's nothing wrong with this, but I'll show you what you can do instead. They'll find a house and it's worth £100,000, okay, and that's what they pay for it. So they get their cash, they take it out of the bank, and they put it into here, and they have this house. Now, what we'll say is this house rents for, let's do it in green. Cash is green. Okay, so £600 per calendar month. Now, because there's no mortgage on that, that is the profit. Okay, the profit is £600 every month. Now, we're not going to put maintenance in and other bits and bobs. Just doing this for understanding. Keep it clean. Okay. Now, what we could say is, well, now we understand the leverage of debt and how inflation works. We also need to consider that interest rates at the moment are also very low. So to lend, to invest is very low. And again, just to recap, we're looking at normally between 1% and 4% typically for buy-to-let investments. If you've got good credit, if you've got diverse credit or issues with lending or CCJs, that's going to go up. Okay, and you're likely to have to put a bigger deposit in as well. So instead of buying the house for 100,000, let's consider buying two and putting 50,000 in each. Okay, so we take that same 100,000. Okay, and we go and buy two houses, and we put 50,000 in. So you'll have a £50 mortgage, putting them there for that. So there's 50k, 50k, and a mortgage. So we've now bought two houses, okay, with that same 100,000. Now, currently rates, again, between 1% and 4%. What I'll do is give you an example. For that type of mortgage, you're going to be looking at around probably 2%, okay, for that type of mortgage, 2%. And that would equate to, I've written down some notes here, you're talking 50% mortgage. So 2% mortgage, 50%, we'll call this LTV, which is loan to value, which is a fancy word for saying what percentage are you putting in and what percentage is the bank putting in. So this one's 50% because you're putting 50% in, and so is the mortgage provider. So we've got 50 grand borrowed. Okay, so if we do that on 2%, well, the numbers are quite easy, aren't they? So 1% would be 500. So it's 1,000 for the year divided by 12. So it's about £80 for the year per month. Okay, so 2% would equal £80 per calendar month. Okay, that's what your mortgage is going to be. Now, you'll also have that mortgage cost for this house as well. But the thing is here, I'll just rub this out for a second. These are still both renting for £600 a month. Okay. Now granted, we now have a case where we have a mortgage on, so we have to minus the 81, but you're still left 519. Okay, so when we looked at the profit for this house, okay, we was happy, we was making £600, okay. Now by leveraging debt from the lenders, okay, it's allowed you to split that 100 into two 50s at an interest rate of 2%, so the interest rates are very low, which gives a mortgage interest only, this is all based on interest only, of £80 per month. So when we do the calculation again, minus them, so it's 519 plus 519, which gives a grand total of 1,038. So you've just increased your profitability by £438, okay, just by leveraging bank debt. Now, again, you may be concerned, I'm taking more debt out. Remember, this is good debt, and over time, as long as you don't over borrow, over time, the house price is going to do this over time, okay? So what you'll find, the same house in 10 years, 20 years, well, we'll say it's doubled in 20 years, okay? So we bought it for 100, it's now worth 200, and because it's an interest only, you still got the £50 on, but you have £150 of equity in that property, okay? So what you could do is you could sell one off later on, or even refinance, because even if the interest rates went up to 6, 7, 8%, there's still a lot of profitability in this model. So that's tip number 6, is don't be scared of debt, leverage the debts and also the low interest rates to create, you know, a very small mortgage per month, which ultimately creates your higher profitability going forward. Thank you.